Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me. In this video, I wanted to talk about the Bataan Death March and talk about my experience with that, how it went, what the overall vibe was, and then at the end I'll kind of talk about what's going to happen after this and what I have planned coming up. So it's been a couple of weeks. I've just been kind of resting and recuperating. I have to say, of all the things that I've done in my life, that was probably the hardest thing that I've had to do. And I had to do a lot of, really hard things in the military, but that was probably the hardest thing as far as pain-wise, at least. I was able to finish. I finished in a time of 10 hours and 9 minutes. That was slower than I wanted to do it. I was anticipating doing it in 7 hours and 54 minutes or less. But after I got started, I realized that was probably not going to happen. Overall, I felt good as the day started. I started off at a pretty good pace. I went the first 6 miles without stopping. When I got to the 6 mile mark, that's when I stopped and changed out my socks and got some, bandages on my foot for a few hot spots that I was seeing. But outside of that, feeling pretty good. And so I continued on from there. When I got to, I continued on from that point and was able to get to, I think it was mile 13 before I stopped again. In between there, it's in between mile 6 and mile 13, it really started to get difficult to, to really focus on the race and, keep going. And I really started to struggle, especially with the blisters on my feet. When I stopped at the mile 13 mark, it was just after the mile 13 water point. I changed out my socks and I got some bandages on my feet. But I realized that I probably wasn't gonna win the battle with the blisters, and that was probably gonna be, something that was just gonna be difficult, or something that I was just gonna have to push through. So I decided after that point, after the mile 13, that I wasn't going to stop again and change my socks, because it was, at that point, it was just a losing battle. And every time I took my socks off, there was more blisters, and trying to peel the bandages off and put new bandages on was actually making things worse. So I just decided that I was going to try to push through and finish the race how it was, or how my feet were. After mile 13, I really had to go in like sections after that point. It was really rough. I think mile 13, I went from 13 to 15, and then I took a break, and then I went from 15 to 17 and took a break, and then same thing from 17 to 19. Mile 19 was really where I was kind of struggling and contemplating quitting. I was having a lot of pain in my leg and my back, and my feet especially. That's pretty much all I can think about at that point, was the pain and the blisters that I had going on in my feet. I ended up trying to trying to listen to music and stuff, but at that point I ended up just turning off my music, and I pretty much just walked in silence. After mile 19, that's really where I started to do 1 mile at a time. I couldn't even really do 2 miles at a time, so I would just do a mile, stop for a few minutes, do a mile, stop for a few minutes, and I kind of did that on pretty much from mile 19 on. There was a stretch, I think it was like 21.3 to 23 that I didn't really continue on, or that I didn't have to stop for that time period. Luckily, I was able to blow through, but it was pretty much downhill for that time, so I didn't really have too much trouble during that section. But after that point, it was definitely mile to mile. I noticed when I got to around mile 24, that's when I noticed that I could see the finish line. And that was kind of a demoralizing thing for me, because when I had been doing the training, I did it in the woods, on the trails that go through the woods near where I live. And with those, with those areas, you couldn't see very far ahead. And so you didn't see all these twists and turns or see how far away you were from the area that you were trying to get to. And so that was kind of a blessing. But during this, it was wide open. So you could usually see for miles in advance. And then when I got to the 24-mile mark, you could see the finish line. Not only could you see the finish line, but you could hear the music and all that. So that was kind of a crushing moment for me. I knew I only had 2.2 miles left to go, but at the same time, I could see the finish line, and I'm like, I was kind of rough at that point. But I pretty much just put my head down and kind of trudged on from that point, just trying to push through the pain and try to think about something else. When I got to mile 25, I took a kind of an extra long break. It was like 15 minutes before I got up. But then when I moved on from there, that last mile, 1.2 miles, I just looked down and I was pretty much just trudging. I think it took me like 28 minutes to finish that last mile. And I was literally just shuffling my feet and taking baby steps is what it felt like to try to finish the race. But when I got to the 26-mile mark and I had the 0.2 miles left, that's when I was like, oh, I better straighten up. So I tightened my bag up. I adjusted my clothes and made sure I looked presentable, and came around and finished the race. That was probably one of the most proud moments that I've ever had, coming across that finish line, finishing their race, getting my my medal, and being able to go and sit down at that point. I weighed my bag. It was 40 pounds, almost 40 pounds exactly. So that was kind of I was kind of like kicking myself for that, because I carried around 5 extra pounds for pretty much the entire race. So that was rough, but it is what it is. And it was a good character building moment. I kind of have been out of it a little bit since then, and so just been trying to focus on my diet and focus on getting healthy again and everything after that. I did do my first run, did a 2.5 mile run yesterday. Went pretty well. Definitely wasn't fast, but I was able to get through it pretty well. So that's what I'm focused on now, is trying to run and get ready for the 5K that I have coming up in July, and then I'll probably advance to a 10K, and then maybe something higher than there, and eventually I'd like to do a half marathon, and then maybe down the road do a full marathon. So I think that's the goal that I'm going to be working on now. So I appreciate you checking out my videos. If you have any questions about the event or about my journey, or if you want anything you want to see, just let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe so that it can get recommended to other people. But thanks everyone, and have a great day.